Our story begins when Christine is 24 years old, already in her early 20s, having just graduated from college. A long period of incredibly intense, nightmare-like experiences that reminded me of night terrors came before a terrible illness and a close call with death that changed my life. After these scary images, she would often wake up in the middle of the night with the crippling feeling that a strong, dark-skinned woman was holding her down. When you think back, you feel terrible that you didn't pay more attention to the hidden messages that you now know were both prophetic and very important. She fought with the disturbing return of her dreams for more than 6 months. In addition to these fights at night, she was dealing with a severe case of depression, big philosophical questions, and a feeling that she was permanently disconnected from the job path she had chosen. It seemed like she couldn't find a clear goal, and she couldn't find her voice. It turned out that this tough time led to a terrible event. Her health rapidly got worse. At first, it was thought to be a normal illness, but she had terrible trouble speaking and eating and was in unbearable pain. She had a tough time because she didn't have health insurance and her job was unstable, which made things even worse. The emergency room didn't seem to care about her fears, which made her feel even worse about the fact that she knew something bad was about to happen. People in such dangerous health situations should be strongly encouraged to get different medical help right away. For her, she had a bad feeling that her life might not be safe. When she told her parents she needed help during this terrible situation, her father stepped in to help her. As the painful spasms of a dangerous infection tore at her awareness, days turned into a fog of pain and madness. She was sure she was going to die, but she had a hard time putting it into words. She knew something was seriously wrong when her heart started to beat fast and a red rash appeared quickly on her chest and throat. This was a warning sign that she needed to get medical help right away. While being taken to the hospital, her lung collapsed and she died of septic shock. Readers who are sensitive should be given a trigger warning because the content that will be shown will be upsetting. A surgical cut was made to treat the lung problem and put in a breathing tube as part of more medical treatments. It was shocking to find that necrotizing fasciitis had spread. This is a common disease that has been called flesh-eating bacteria. Often, a tissue amputation is needed to stop the spread of this disease, which could be deadly. She was sick, and it had spread to her chest and throat, which put her life in even more danger. For 3.5 weeks, she was put into a medically induced sleep to keep her family from finding out how bad her condition was. Doctors told her she had only a 1% chance of living when she finally woke up. It was a never-ending fight against huge odds over the next few days, with uncertainty hanging over every move and the whole thing teetering on the edge of collapse. In spite of the fact that she never actually died, her experience with death was a unique trip that took her to a new level of awareness. Within one, she was floating on water while dreamy music played around her. The trip seemed to go on forever. Her dreams also showed how much her body was hurting. It was like a horrible event was ingrained in her mind on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level. A dream that was so strange that it was impossible to describe. She was caught up in a complicated story that would have made a great topic for a talk about parallel universes or past lives. This complicated dream took her to a world that was very different from her own. She changed into an Asian character and rode a huge ship across the endless sea. The air was heavy with despair, sadness, and misery, which made every woman on board feel like they were mindless sex objects with no control or voice. In her middle years, she played the part of an overseer and reluctantly helped enslave the other women inmates. It was heavy for her that she didn't like herself or her position. However, this complicated dream changed at a very important part. From a deep, unspoken bond made by a passionate look shared with another woman on board, an understanding based on empathy grew. She saw things in a whole new way when she realized that the woman was really her sister. Together, they went on a secret mission to free all the prisoners, freeing each one at a time and setting off a wave of freedom and joy. She says that this dream was a key part of her getting better from a serious illness that had put her life in danger. The image of her sister seemed to keep coming back to her when she woke up, changing her mind forever. As she dealt with the effects of illness and tragedy, she fought with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Even when she was 24, it was hard for her friends to understand how much she had been through. Along her road, she also had times of strong intuition and dreams that told her what the future held. She was very understanding and could feel how other people felt, which made it harder for her to get used to her new surroundings. According to her, people who have near-death experiences might feel like a wall opens, letting them easily move from this world to another. This newly found link between these parallel worlds is very important. She talks about her experiences with shared death, which were scary and overwhelming at first, but got easier to handle over time. Our society's view that these kinds of experiences are pathological makes her fear of being labeled as mentally ill even stronger. This makes it harder for her to live her life with this skewed view of reality. Her most disturbing thing was having precognitive dreams, which were like having déjà vu but worse, with clear images, small details, and a strong sense that she was living the event again. As people became more aware, they began to doubt the idea of free will and the sure of some events. These questions have shaped her future work, which includes a detailed record of these exchanges and a deep look into the structure of time. She makes the case that time doesn't work the way we normally experience it, which makes this idea even more interesting. She talks about the idea that spiritual events might have a hidden part that could help people develop a Messiah or God complex in her speech. People are filled with such strong energy that it could blow their egos out of proportion or make them lose touch with reality. This change could lead to power abuse in workplace settings in some situations. She stresses that everyone has the natural ability to have deep spiritual awakenings. She stresses how important it is to be careful when giving up to people who might be bad, those who want to take advantage of or control others, even though she agrees that submission is an important part of religious or spiritual experiences. People should still carefully look at different spiritual ways and groups, judging by their behavior and seeing if it fits with what a spiritual mentor should do. After her life-changing event, she became very spiritual and tried a lot of different types of therapy. Her journey to find herself, connect with God, and live in harmony with nature began when she found interesting similarities in native ceremonies that focused on prayer and being in touch with nature. A major shift in the current situation is bringing in a new era of life. When the stars shine and enchant us, we all feel a strange link to the sky's endless space. Please know that I appreciate you joining this story. If you enjoyed this story and want to read more like it, you might want to subscribe and turn on alerts to be kept up to date on new discoveries and experiences.